apologies on the delay. So, item 1, declaration of opening. Councillors, before we proceed with the business of today's meeting, I'd like to acknowledge the passing of former councillor and Deputy Shire President Lang Coppin OAM and pay tribute to his remarkable service of the people of the East Pilbara. Lang devoted more than 46 years to local government, serving on council from 1977 until his retirement in 2023. Few individuals have given so much of their lives to public service. Throughout those decades, he was a passionate and determined advocate for marble bar, the pastoral industry, and the remote communities of the northern East Pilbara. He brought a wealth of practical knowledge to the council table and never lost sight of the challenges and opportunities facing the region he called home. Lang was widely respected for his unwavering commitment to improving roads, infrastructure and services across some of the most remote parts of Australia. His advocacy helped shape projects that continue to benefit residents, businesses and visitors today. His leadership and dedication were recognised through the Medal of the Order of Australia in 2013 and more recently when he was awarded the honour of the Freeman of the Shire of the East Pilbara in 2024. Above all, Lang will be remembered as a true Pilbara character, forthright, hard-working and deeply committed to his community. His legacy lives in the projects he championed, the communities he represented and the many lives he touched through his service. On behalf of the administration and council, I extend our sincere condolences to Lang's family, friends and all those that had the privilege of knowing him. We thank him for his extraordinary contribution to the East Pilbara and honour a life dedicated to serving others. I now ask all present to join me in observing a minute's silence in memory of Lang Coppin OAM. Thank you, everyone. We'll now commence with today's meeting. I welcome you all to the Shire of East Pilbara Special Council Meeting, 17 July 2026, held in Newman Council Chambers, which I declare open at 10:33 a.m. Council acknowledges the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Nyiyaparli people, their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. Council also acknowledges the Maru people as the custodians of Jigong, which sits in Nyiyaparli country. Council pays its respect to all elders past, present and emerging. May I ask everyone present to turn off and refrain from using their mobile phones for the duration of the meeting. Tablets and laptops are permitted for the purpose of accessing agenda items and notes. I advise all those in attendance that this meeting is being audio recorded, which can be accessed by members of the public and the media, and council members should refrain from making any defamatory statements. This meeting is also being live streamed, a recording of which will be available on the Shire's YouTube channel and website. Members of the public are advised that anyone who has any application lodged with the Shire of East Pilbara must obtain and should only rely on written confirmation of the outcome of the application and any conditions attached to the decision made by the Shire of East Pilbara in respect of the application. Item 2, the attendance by electronic means. Request to attend the meeting by electronic means has been received from Deputy Shire President Councillor Peter Bear, Councillor McWhirter Brooks, Councillor Lockyer, Councillor Chapman, Councillor Cooler, Councillor Ball, which is approved by me as Shire President presiding this meeting in accordance with Regulation 14C of the Local Government Administration Regulations of 1996. The record of attendances, apologies and leave of absence are captured for council members by the administration, also the executive team and the Shire officers. 3.2, there is nil apologies. 3.3, there is no councillors have applied for a leave of absence for today's meeting. On to item 4, the disclosure of interest. Are there any further disclosures of interest to be made in relation to any of items on today's agenda? Thank you. Moving on to item 5, declaration by council members to have given due consideration to all matters contained in the business papers before this meeting. As per the statement on your screen, please, Councillor Peter Bear.
I have given due consideration to all papers contained in the agenda for this meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Greta Brooks.
I confirm that I am familiar with the contents of the council agenda and supporting documents for this meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Patching.
I confirm that I'm familiar with the contents of the council agenda and supporting documents for this meeting.
Councillor Lockyer. Councillor, no. Councillor Chapman. You're on mute, mate. Councillor Landy, while we're waiting. Turn your microphone on, please.
I have given due consideration to all matters contained in the business paper before the meeting.
Thank you. I've given due consideration to the contents of the agenda and supporting documents for this meeting. We note that Councillor Chapman did say it, but we just can't turn the audio on. So thank you very much. We'll move on. Item 6, public question time. So we've received a request from the Chamber of Minerals and Energy WA to raise some questions in relation to the agenda item. I again welcome Aaron Morey, CEO of CME, who is joining us on Teams. So thank you for joining us, Aaron. If you want to go, I do note that there's several questions, more than 3, by going 1A, 1B, 1C, or whatever it is. So I'll hand the floor over to you, mate. We've got 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Shire President. I too acknowledge Lane Coppin. I pass on my condolences to all of you, and very sorry for your loss. I also acknowledge the Nyiyaparli people, the traditional owners of the lands on which you meet, and I also acknowledge the Whadjuk people, the traditional owners of the land from which I join you today, and I pay my respects to their elders, past and present. Before I ask my questions, Shire President Middleton, can I clarify if there is an opportunity to make a short deputation following the questions in the agenda or not?
We'd have to suspend standing orders and everything. It's a bit clunky, and I'll need to put it out to council for their resolution. So, you have a deputation.
I don't have a problem with it if it's not going to interfere with your program.
Okay. Councillor Peter Bear.
My only question would be what the value of the deputation is to our decision-making process today.
Very cool. Yeah. Councillor Greta Brooks.
Addition.
Yeah, as Councillor Bear has mentioned, yeah, I'd like to know what the value of the deputation is over and above the question. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. And Councillor Chapman. Okay. Looks like general consensus is that. Yeah. She said that wants to hear it. So, if you could give us a brief rundown of what the deputation may contain, please, Aaron, and then we'll go from there.
The deputation is contingent on the answers to the questions. We were, just to clarify, in contact with your team. Apologies, I don't have a name, but we did receive an indication that I could make a deputation, but not here to cause trouble, Shire President Middleton, but yeah, it's just keen to clarify that.
Yeah, okay. I do note that there is ultimately eight somewhat questions in there. So today we won't be progressing with that. But if you could please progress with your questions, that'd be greatly appreciated.
No problem. Thank you, Shire President. First question is, it is important to understand the Shire's current expenditure and spending profile in greater detail. First, can the Shire please explain what has driven the considerable increase in employee costs over the past few years? And second, can the Shire please outline how much you expect to spend on airport and wastewater treatment plant infrastructure in coming years?
I shall hand over to the CEO, Stephen.
Okay. So firstly, if I may publicly thank my staff for the level of dedication they give to this council and this community. And the reason I make that comment is because I want to make these next statements, it become very clear, I would hope. So our overall costs for staff is 10% of a $313 million budget. So staff numbers in other councils in the vicinity of our budget across the state of WA typically have double or triple the number of staff that we actually have. Over the past few years, we're certainly due to the impacts of mining and the increased prices of contractors in our region, we have been bringing those services in-house to reduce and get better value for money for our community. We've had increases in statutory superannuation costs, which you'll be aware, that's across the industry, across the whole state, across the whole country. We've had forced changes from state to the federal award, which has had implications. And we've got major projects and services that are going on that have required additional staff during this period, which have been specifically engaged for these projects. So that's part A of your question. Part B of your question, in relation to the wastewater treatment plant in the coming years. So council has not received any support from federal, state or mining for the wastewater treatment plant. Stage one of that is $49 million, of which council has already appointed a contractor, and we're expecting dirt to be turned as early as August this year. Design's been finalised. The major users of this facility is the mining sector through their town-based camps and houses. On the basis there has been no financial support from the federal, state or mining, a loan has been raised to cover the cost of this over a 40-year term to make it affordable to all. Where a mining company has significant residential housing in Newman, they will pay, like all other residents, a charge for service provided. If they are located outside the service area, there is no charge to the mining sector. Stage two, which has got to happen, of the sewage plant is a future cost of $25 million, of which we are looking for support. But based on history and the willingness to achieve support from the state and mining sector, this will be difficult. In relation to the airport, you ask how much money we're spending this year. We are hopefully leading a contract after this budget has been adopted to the tune of around $35 million. This will be a major benefit to the mining sector, of which as much as 80% of the users are based from mining are using our Newman Airport. The mining sector and the government have not provided any financial support for any of the developments required at Newman Airport to meet demand driven by growth in the mining industry. So they will be covered. The cost recovery will be covered by user charges of the airport. Council has been working on achieving funding for the 5-time larger terminal required to bring the airport terminal up to the current requirements. We have over 105 RPT planes in excess of 500,000 passengers per year, with certain days replicating what would be a 1 million persons going through our airport in one day. At this point in time, there's been no funding contribution from the federal, state or mining sector. That's not to say that we don't want to work with mining. And if I can give an example where one mining company has done the right thing by the Shire and its people. So at Pilbara Airport, we built an airstrip that would meet the requirements of the mining sector and also our community in relation to getting the flights back for our people to Perth. And it was done with two mining companies and ourselves with the benefit to all. So it can be done. What we would like to do is work with the mining sector for what would be shared community benefit, which is fair income, community investment. That's the end of my answer.
Thank you, Aaron. Could you please proceed with question 2?
Thank you for the answer. In response to my deputation on 3 July, your response referred to the cost of maintaining roads. Many mining companies already contribute towards roads through road use agreements or direct maintenance and provide their own wastewater, power and waste services. I appreciate there's a lot here in a short amount of time. I'm very sympathetic. But nonetheless, can the Shire please outline a project-by-project breakdown of the Shire's road maintenance plan for 26-27 for the local government roads and assets not already funded or maintained by industry? The analysis the Shire has undertaken to estimate the costs attributable to resources sector use of local government roads, the resources sector's total funding contribution towards roads through separate agreements, airport charges, fees, and other mechanisms, and how those contributions were accounted for before seeking significant additional revenue from ratepayers.
Thank you, Aaron. Again, I'll hand over to the CEO.
Okay, so I will answer your question. There is a lot. I'm not going to answer dot by dot point. It'll be an overview of the total theme of what you're proposing there. So as you would be aware, approximately 48.8 billion is exported out of the Shire of East Pilbara in relation to mining. There's 122 active mines. Of 92% of all mining resources are coming from the Shire of East Pilbara. Given the location of the mining sites and the transportation to the ports in quads and the like on roads, I know there's trains as well, but on roads, that were never designed for such damage, the damage on our roads is extremely high. I would say, with a high degree of confidence, that 80% of the damage on our roads is related to mining activities. There's only one, to get rid of this myth that there's many agreements with the Shire of East Pilbara, there is only one road agreement that I am aware of for $220,000 per year. There are no other agreements in place. So if you think there is, I'll be very interested in knowing which ones they are. In any year, we've spent, in the last couple of years, we've been spending at least $40 million a year. This year, the budget's $41 million a year, which includes some cyclone damage funding. Goes nowhere near paying for what needs to be done to get these roads open. We've had roads closed for over a year in some areas. We would welcome funding support on roads which are damaged by mining operations and transportation costs, getting the resources to the port. That 48.8 billion worth of exports. Mining is damaging far more than they are paying for, hence the reason for the TWA increase proposed, which was not approved. And as such, those roads the roads that we'll be focusing on will be those in which the contribution was made. We will be doing the other roads later. The ones that are paying are the ones we'll be putting our focus on. If we had indeed got that TWA approval, those roads would have been included as a priority road in the first instance also. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Aaron. Move on to question 3, please.
Thank you. The Shire's budget has depreciation expenses well above the long-term financial plan forecast. At the same time, rates and fees revenue are considerably higher than forecast. Despite generating positive cash flows in this budget, the depreciation uplift contributes to a forecast budget deficit. Can the Shire explain the changes in asset valuations, useful lives, condition assessments, or accounting treatment driving the depreciation increase? and what efficiency measures the Shire has implemented in the proposed budget?
Thanks, Aaron. Again, I'll hand over to the Chief Executive Officer.
Okay. Asset valuations are really complicated, as you may or may not appreciate, Aaron, because we're talking about unsealed roads being the major portion of which the depreciation is attributed to. The valuation was done in 2024, which resulted in a significant increase in the depreciation figure. We are doing a full re-evaluation as we speak at the moment to try and get what we would regard as a more realistic number. But can I say, when we are setting these budgets together, the depreciation is a paper number for the point of accounting purposes. So what we have been focusing on is the amount of money that we actually need to get these roads into some sort of condition. Now, if we were to charge what is probably the appropriate number by depreciation, we are way, way under. So if I was to say, in a very simplistic version of this, that if we got $10 worth of depreciation, we should spend $10 on maintenance to keep it in its current state. So what we are looking at in this new revaluation is the life of the roads and how that works. Now, the mining sector, if they are doing detriment to our roads, are certainly not helping us on the depreciation element of it and how much money we need to maintain those roads. So apart from that, the other thing I would like to say is that to get our roads to the condition, we did an estimate a number of years ago based on real science, actually, calculations. We need to spend over $200 million on shooting out unsealed roads. And what we are currently doing at this point in time doesn't go anywhere near that $200 million. So council has been focusing on chipping away as much as we can and also advocating for funds from those that will maybe provide some funds. But we do not get funding from the mining sector to cover the cost of the damage that is getting done to these roads and hence the depreciation. We are hoping that the depreciation figure will drop to a more realistic number for the sake of the reporting. However, the reality is the life of these roads is very much in question when they get damaged as quickly as they do. That's the end of the question.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Shire President. I reiterate my request to make a statement.
Thank you, Mr. Morey, for your time. Look, there was multiple questions in there. The request is 3 questions, so I think we've granted enough time for you today. So thank you very much. You're more than welcome to stay online. We will now continue with item 7 for the officers' reports. 7.1.1, the annual budget for 2026-2027. The office recommendation is as written in the special council meeting agenda of 17th July 2026. Can I please get a mover and a seconder, and noting that this is an absolute majority decision of council is required for this item. A mover, please. Councillor Peter Bear, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Patching, thank you. Councillor Peter Bear, would you like to speak?
I will just add that I am disappointed that we were unable to effectively adjust the rates to our initial proposal. I think that given we generate so much wealth for not only the region, the state, but also the country, the conditions that our community is subjected to due to the lack of funding that we receive and the limited avenues that local governments have to raise revenue to deliver those services to the community. It's disappointing, but hopefully we can push through this budget and deliver as much value to the community as possible.
Thank you, Councillor Bear. Councillor Patching.
Yeah, I'd like to agree with Peter. It's disappointing that we couldn't come to an arrangement initially, but I'm sure in the long run things will come around.
Thank you. Does any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor McWhirter-Brooks.
Yes. Thank you, President Middleton. I'd like to register extreme disappointment that we were unable to come to an agreement over the rating with state government. I'm very disappointed that that budget of $4 million, which is a pittance, has to come off the road budget, and it's a significant part of the road budget. People where I live rely on quality roads to transport themselves and the things that they need to survive to them, and products to market, those that are not in the mining sector. And they pay their rates diligently and suffer the quality roads that they have to use. I look forward to fruitful discussions being reported with the mining sector, and I look forward to working with them on resolving the disparity we have in the consumption and the service to community that we have in our region, given that we are the largest provider of mineral resources in this country. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, Councillor Bakura-Brooks. Any other councillors wish to speak?
I think Milton's trying to speak.
Yeah,
Milton, can you unmute your phone for us? See if that works. Is Carolyn there?
While you're trying to navigate that, Councillor Chapman, Councillor Lockyer, have you got anything?
No, not really.
Okay, thank you. We'll wait.
Good, thank you.
Chapman.
Okay, you speaking, you should be able to be here on.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Oh. I know. We on the road, that road down in the desert is not bad. How soon we can get the right out of here?
Is
Yes, no, that's still be covered. That's still be covered.
yes. So yeah. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, so I think Councillor Milton's question related to the desert roads, that there would be money spent out in those regions, Councillor. Absolutely. There is definitely Dr. Farwar money, emergency funding money, and we had some other money that was allocated through Aboriginal road funding as well, although a lot less than last year on the Aboriginal funding part, but there is quite a lot of work that is going to be covered by the emergency funding, which will be heavy grading and hopefully some resheeting in that mix. I'd have to get that exact list off you, but I think for you, but that's my understanding. The budget's still 41 million. It's a considerable amount of money we're spending on roads, of which the desert roads are included.
Thank you very much. I just concur with all the other comments made by the councillors, and noting that item 17 of that resolution around that the approves the rate pay information brochure as per Appendix 3 and authorise the Chief Executive Officer to make any minor modifications required. That will also need to be amended around the unapproved rate increase. So that needs to be flagged within that documentation for our fellow ratepayers to actually see and understand. Thank you. If there's no further comments, I shall now put this to the vote, keeping in mind that this is an absolute majority decision of council. Can I please get a show of hands, and Councillor McWhirter-Brooks a verbal, and yourself, Councillor Chapman, all those in favour, please.
Yes, I'm for.
Thank you very much. That is 7-4 and none against. That item is carried. We now move on to item 8, where there is nil confidential matters behind closed doors. The date of the next meeting is at Gallop Hall in Nullagine on 31 July 2026. Item 10, there being no further business, I now declare the Shire of East Pilbara Special Council meeting on 17 July 2026 closed at 11:04 a.m. And I thank council members and yourself, Mr. Morey, for your attendance. It's been greatly appreciated. Have a good day.